Robert Conway, 22nd of June, 1954. I've solved many a case in my time as a private investigator, but nothing so close to home as the abduction of Charlotte May.
So it's really nice to finally release our announced trailer. We've been working on it for a little bit now, and hopefully you've all had a chance to watch it, and if not, be sure to check out the link in the description. It took a lot of time to get there and a lot of hard work. And the way it actually came about was we got a really great opportunity to announce the game at E3. And this is something we've never had the opportunity to do before. On our previous two games, Ether 1 and The Occupation, we've always just released trailers as and when we felt we were able to talk about the game. So whether we've hit a certain milestone or whether we reach a certain stage in production.
Although we didn't have really much prepared, it was kind of an offer we couldn't refuse because it's a great standpoint to showcase our game. So we basically had a week to make a trailer and set it all up. So last week was a fairly intense one, but also really fun just because we got to work on a trailer, showcase the game, kind of get a glimpse in some cases into what the game's actually gonna finally look like, because we managed to do like final lighting and those kinds of things for smaller shots.
It's interesting because if you speak to the other team members, there's a lot of excitement in the team just because we've never been on a platform such as E3 before.
It's a mixture of excitement and dread. Excitement that you finally get to show this thing that's just been a concept just for so long, and obviously you get to work on it and see the progress and see it build and become something, and then there's that moment where you have to release it into the world and show people your baby, and it's exciting internally, in that way that you can't wait to see what people think of it, but then at the same point, there's that moment where you realize you're going to see what everybody thinks of it. So it's the double-edged sword.
Proud, because it looks damn cool.
Bit of trepidation. Definitely got a bit of trepidation about the trailer.
Terrified.
Super nervous. That's technically two words. Super and nervous.
And the classic excited, I think. Yeah, just cool to get into people's hands.
Terrified and excited. That people would have seen the game at this point, having been working intensely on it for 2 years.
There's a lot that goes into a trailer. You've got to release the website. You've got to make sure your social banners are updated at the right time. You've got to make sure that all the links are correct. You've got to make sure the messaging is consistent. And to go on top of that, because it's E3, and E3 is a West Coast conference, it means that we're 8 hours behind them. So our trailer's not going up till 12 or 1 a.m. GMT time. So it's very late in the day or early in the morning, however you see that. And so just making sure we can adjust to that on British time is just going to be a big challenge. A lot of times when you're working on games and you just see little bits coming online here and there, you can't necessarily appreciate the full quality of the game, as it were.
Usually with a game, as you get towards the end, still things look a little bit rubbish, and there's some loose ends here and there. Every now and then maybe there's a shot that looks more polished, but as a whole, the game just doesn't look that complete. But having to work on the trailer meant that myself and James on the art team needed to work on what is the post-processing view for our game, what is this vibe that we're going for. And once we locked the post-processing in and we got to focus in on some specific shots and bring the light in to polish, that's when we met the game. That's when we could see that early vision of what we wanted the art style to be, how it's evolved into something unique from that. And we found hopefully something that looks great, and that is a nice setting to tell our story. Traditionally, we've handled a lot of our trailers in-house. So from Ether 1 to The Occupation, we've created the trailers ourselves. This has been really important to us because trailers are a great way to get people invested in a game and try and tell your story in a very short video.
They've actually been made by me in terms of most of the physical hands-on editing has been done by me, not solely obviously decision-wise. Like the entire team has always been involved in every single step. So when edits are made, it's been based on everybody's feedback. And for this project, I think it was understanding that to not only evolve as game developers, but as a studio, like so do the promotional materials, like how we're going to deliver this to the world also needs to evolve.
And with Project 3, through working with Sold Out, we've been able to work with a great marketing company, Supernaut, and through them work with a fantastic editing company, Secret Powers.
Working with them has been a seamless kind of extension of the way we work, and speaking with them, they feel the same way. Because we're a narrative game, they were very aware that whatever we're trying to say throughout the trailer has to honor that narrative, and at the very least, when we're trying to find a solution of what we can say that doesn't spoil the narrative in the game or doesn't spoil any of the experiences, they were very aware that they needed to be working alongside us from the conception stage. So the very first draft that they sent to us was instantly something that if it was left to us, we would never have dreamt of.
The initial trailer version was actually over 2 minutes long. We thought we had more time than we had, and it actually came back that we could only get away with 1.5 minutes. So we kind of went back to the drawing board in that first week. There was a lot of content and ground being covered. We felt like it was a bit overwhelming anyway, just the amount of game content we were trying to cover. And I think we've narrowed it down to a really nice small section of the game between Robert and Catherine and their relationship in the story, with all the suspects of the game being presented throughout the trailer.
The very first stage there is collaborating in a way that you go, okay, let's take these great ideas that they've had, but how do we deliver visuals, and how we deliver in the audio, and how we deliver in the narrative, and then work alongside them. First step was the narrative, just to make sure that it's something that, as Conway is talking throughout the trailer, has to be something that Conway would say. We have to believe that it's something that he would say, so that for somebody who's never played the game, never seen the trailer, they don't look at that and think that he's one way, play the game, and he's another.
I think it would be worth, if you have shots in mind that we could just try dropping in there, I think it'd be a worthwhile exercise. And Pete, point well taken on, we don't have time to add a bunch.
We originally had a sort of deadline to when we had to have some form of trailer asset pack set up so that we could make a trailer. But essentially, because of this opportunity that we got from Future Game Show, that time was cut in half. And for me personally, that meant that basically any characters that were going to be in the trailer, which we wanted pretty much all of them to be in there, they all had to get to a level of polish that was basically indicative of the final game.
We were making the trailer, obviously it was in the middle of development, so whatever we worked on couldn't get in the way of the progress of the game, or we couldn't have levels checked out that were being worked on. So what we did was we found the specific shot we wanted in the game, if that was a set piece or a specific location, and then we would take that environment out of the level into its own map, and then this would just give us a control to be able to work on the scene.
The way we ended up setting up a handful of the shots where you see, I guess, the main characters, the main cast of characters, was to take existing animations and shoot them in slightly different locations or from different camera angles, so that they look different and they're not incredibly recognizable when you see them in the game, and so that you're not kind of giving away too much of the story or too much of the scene of what is actually going on. It still looks a bit mysterious.
Some of them required not necessarily reanimating, but touching up to a different angle. One of the examples of this would be the perp going through a door, which is taken from a scene in the game at a different angle, and it just looked not great when seeing it this front-on angle as opposed to the angle that was sort of being covered up. Half of the body was sort of covered by a wall, so there was no need for us to animate that at the time.
Depending on what animation they need in the trailer, that kind of dictates who would kind of look to that asset to send over to them. So a lot of the shots that they were looking for were things that I'd animated or I'd created. So a handful of it I had to kind of edit and help put together. Whereas Harry, as he said, he worked on just a couple of the shots and a couple of the models that we had to send over.
The interesting aspect of this trailer, which you might not have previously seen in our trailers because it just wasn't apparent, is the use of motion graphics in this trailer. So we've always just recorded straight game content. It's always just been on the kind of small independent level. We've never had a budget for the trailer or anything like that. And so we've always just directly cut the footage from the game, and that was all you saw. And hopefully you can appreciate the motion graphics aspect of this trailer, which really adds a tone and an intensity to the pacing of the trailer.
With handing it off to the other team to do the motion graphics, with that really cool effect over the top, we had to export a lot of poses for what they were looking at. So they're not actually drawn from scratch or anything like that. There's a filter overlaid over the top of the existing models, which is why the likeness is so spot on.
It was interesting seeing the final trailer for the first time, because we had actually gone through 22 revisions of the same trailer. So it's very hard to see the kind of overview of the game. I'm still not quite sure how it will land. It'll be very interesting to see. We're recording this before E3, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how existing fans of our work perceive the game, but also hopefully it opens up to a new audience. This game definitely takes the strongest aspects of Ether 1 and the Occupation, and we've really refined our process to deliver a cool player experience, and I think we've got that in the trailer. I think we deliver in the trailer exactly what the game is.
Yeah, I don't know right now if people like the trailer or if they're enjoying it, so I'm just waiting, and yeah, I hope people enjoy what we've made. I hope they like or feel like this. Hope they like the story, and hope they're intrigued to play it from the trailer. That's all we want, to create intrigue for the game we're making.
It's something that, I mean, personally, I'm very proud of, and I know the rest of the team are as well. It's the third game for us as this team, so we've learned a lot from our past games, and we feel like we've put all of that knowledge and all of that experience and all of that, energy into this new product, and we're really excited to just to see what people make of it, and let people see our evolution and let people see our growth, and hopefully share in the excitement that we have for what we're making.
It's been great to have this opportunity to showcase what we've been working on to so many people and on such a big stage. So yeah, I'm eternally grateful for the platform that they've given us to showcase what we're working on, and hopefully it pays off and everyone likes it.